As we all know, database is one of the most used concept for any company. So all the company has their own database and they have to manage that. So we have to know lots of concepts we have under database management system. And here we came up with a proper end-to-end project where we are going to do a HR database management system, and we will look how a HR database management system can be handled and what are the things we can do with this database. Right, so in this tutorial we are going to cover how to use a HR database management system, what are the data manipulation you can go for, and what are the expected query you can think about the HR database management system. So before start the tutorial, let me introduce that Great Learning has come up with the idea that is Great Learning Academy, where you will get almost 80 plus free courses, and after completing your course you can claim your certificate as well. And if you want to do these courses in a mobile application, that is also possible using Great Learning app. So let's get started with the tutorial. Now in this part we are going to talk about the project 2, that is HR database management system. Right, that human resource database management system. So let's go to MySQL workbench and let's have a look at how we can do that. So here we came here and we are going to make our database, right? So here is our tables, here is our all the datas and all those things, right? So here maybe we are going to make one database, right? So making our database, we need to write create database human resource. Use human resource, right? Let me just execute this. So yeah, so it's, you can see it's your human resource database is created. Now I am going to use that particular one. Yes, that is also done. Now we are going to create a table. What table we are going to create? We are going to create a table called countries. So there you can see I have written create table if not exists, but the thing is like if as it's a new database, you don't need to write this. Right, so what we are going to do, you can see create table countries, the name of the table is country, then your attribute will be country ID, country name, region ID. Now country ID will be varchar, the combination of character and the numbers. Then the country ID length will be 2, as we know that country ID length is like normally we have, that is 2. Now that after that I have written one condition. What condition I have written? That will be not null. So what is that mean? We all know about what is not null. It cannot be empty. If you give it empty, it will give you throw your error. Right, I said my country ID cannot be null. It's not null. Okay. Now what we need to do, we have second attribute called country name. That is also varchar. The length of the varchar is 40. Right, and default is null. Default is null basically. If you don't put anything, then it will be null. Right, region ID. If you put the region ID, right, there will be a region ID for the basis of region. That will be decimal, and yes, that can be decimal. And that will also be default null if you don't give region ID. Then we have primary key. So we all know the concepts of primary key, how primary key works, what is the use of primary key. For a recap, primary key is basically just to reduce the redundancy of the data and helps in relational database management systems as well. So our primary key is country ID. And if you see that key counter region FK is equals to region ID, right? And this engine part, if you want to just say no, I don't want it, you can do that. Now if you go and check if your table is created or no, like write show tables, right? So I just want to check this countries table is created or not. The country table is created. Now I just want to add all the country details. Our country ID is AR, country name is Argentina, region ID is 2, right? So let me just add the value to the country table. Okay, this much we have. Okay, for that let me just execute this. Yes, it got executed. Now if you see, select star, so we have used select star from countries, right? Can you see your all the data are stored in the table called countries, right? Now we are going to make the next table. The table name is departments. How this gonna work? I think if you want to recheck it that the same name table is there or not, that time if not exist, right? So create table department. Let's have a look at the attributes we have. We have department ID, that will be decimal again, not null. Default is 0, right? You can add both of them. It cannot be null if you don't give it, so default it will be 0. Department name, that will be varchar, the length will be 30, and that will be also not null. Manager ID, your manager ID cannot be null. Yes, no, your manager ID can be null, that is decimal 1. The type of manager ID will be decimal, and the default is null. If you don't give anything, the default will be null. Then the location ID, for location ID will be default will be null. So if you look at closely, so we are using two. One is not null and default 0 for department ID. So you can use twice, I mean these two together, right? Now primary key is like department ID, okay? And the other key we have that department ID and department manager ID and location key, right? These are the other keys we have. If we can execute this, let me just execute this. Yes, it's got executed, right? Now what we are going to do, it's giving me error. Why? Because of this. Okay, now I want to again do show tables. Execute that. Yeah, can you see the departments is also there. Now I will put all the data to department. So we have department ID, department name, manager ID, and location ID. So if you look at it, we are not going to use insert into so many times. What we have done, we have written insert into departments, the table name, then all the columns you want to fill, right? Then if you write values and if you give 10, 20 sets of values, you can directly execute them, right? So this is the easy way to insert value in MySQL again, right? Let me just execute this. Okay, it's executed. Now if I write select star from the table name was departments. Can you see your all the data got dumped, or you can say all the data got saved in your table, right? So department ID 10, department name administration, manager ID 200, location ID 1700, right? Now we are going to make one more table that is called employee table. So in the employee table, we are going to write create table employee, then employee ID will be your attribute, that will be decimal 6,0, not null, default 0. First name is varchar and that is also default null. Then we have last name, that is also varchar, that cannot be null, so this is not null. Then comes email, email cannot be not null, so that is why it is not null, and again it's a varchar. Then we have phone number. Okay, lots of list, like a big list we have phone number, that will be varchar, that can be null, right? Higher date, date, that type of the higher date, the type of the attribute higher date will be date, that can be not null. Job id, that will be varchar 10, that will again not null. Then salary, salary is default is null. This will be decimal, obviously, and the default will be null. Now commission PCT, then this will be decimal and default is null. Then we have manager ID, that will be also default is null. Then we have department ID, the decimal default null. Now if you can see, primary key will be employee ID as normal. Unique key. So we have 2, 3, 4 unique keys in one table, but primary key cannot be more than one. So unique key, that employee email ID will be unique key, right? And the other key will be this. These are the other keys, right? Let me just execute this part. Right. We have executed. Now if we want to check the table, the show table part, show table, so we will see how many tables we have created so far, it is created or not, right? So this show tables, you can see employee is there. Now we will add the data. This will be the most big data, if I am not wrong. Right. Can you see? We have inserted all the data. Now if you want to check, you can write select star from where? From employee. Right? Select star from employees. Can you see all the data got saved in the table? The employee ID 100, first name is Steven, last name is King. Then again, email is King. Okay, email is just one word. Okay, job ID at praise, salary 24,000, commission PCT 0.00. Right? So this is how we are going to use this table. And these are the attributes we are going to have in employee table. As we have made 3 tables, let's have a look at the next table we have. The table will be job history. So create table job history. Then there we will have few attributes like employee ID, start date, end date. So employee ID will be decimal type. Start date will be date type. End date will be date type. That the both will be not null. Then job ID will be not null. Then you will have department ID, right? Then you will have primary key, employee ID and start date. This two will be your primary key, right? Now key will be this, and this is how we are going to make the table. That job history will have 2 attributes, and that 2 attribute will be primary key, right? Yes. Now we will gonna insert all of them. Insert the value of all of them, right? For job history table. Right, let me just execute this. Now if you want to check it is already there or not, again we are doing the same procedure. Select star from job history. Can you see you got employee ID, start date, end date, job ID and department ID. Now we are going to talk about the next table we have, the table called jobs. In the jobs table, we will have the attribute called job ID, that will be varchar, not null, default is in the quotation. Then job title, that will be varchar, not null. minimum salary and max salary, right? So default will be null, okay, that will be type of decimal, and the primary key will be job ID. So you can find the job using job ID. Let me just execute this. Yeah, it got executed. Now if we want to insert the data to jobs, lots of types of jobs are there. Let me just execute this as well. And now we are going to write select star from jobs. Yes, so your job ID is at place, job title is president, minimum salary is 20,000, maximum salary is 40,000. Then ADVP, then ADSSST, FIMGR, finance manager, then FI account, accountant, right? Then accounting manager, that the minimum salary is 8,200, 16,000 will be your max salary, right? Now we are going to talk about the table called location. So we have written create table, then if not exist, then the table name will be location, and the attributes we have location ID, street address, postal code, right? Okay, we have city, all of them are like location ID will be decimal, street address will be varchar, postal code will be varchar, the default is null, right? All of them default is null. For location ID, default is 0 because otherwise it will be not null. So what is the use of using not null and default 0 together? So the reason is basically if you are not giving the data for this particular attribute, that time it will automatically take 0, as otherwise it will not give you any error. Right. So you have postal code, city, state, province, country ID, right? Some of them are default null, some of they are just default 0. Then primary key, location ID. Then we have few keys, and yes, this is what we have for this table, the location. Let me execute the location table. Yes, it got executed. Now we will add the data. Yes, inserted into, this is all done. Now we will do the same thing just to recheck that all the data is inserted or not. We are going to write select star from locations. Let me execute that. Yes, this you can see these are the data we have. We have Via Coladia Rai, right? Lots of street address we have. We have postal code 989, city, Roma, Venice, Tokyo, like South Lake and all. Okay. Now we are going to make a table called region. That time we will have region ID, region name, and the primary key will be region ID. Unique key will be region name. Let me just do that. And let me just insert that as well, region 1. So do that. What we need to do, we need to write select star from what regions, right? And we will make the ER diagram for this as well, for the reverse engineering. Then we will solve the exercise for this particular database. Okay, so to the reverse engineering, what you need to do, go to database, click on reverse engineer. Then what you need to do, you just need to click on next, right? Now you have to give your password. For my case, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Right? Now if you click on next, you need to select the database. For my case, it is human resource. Then next. Then next. Then execute. Then next. And then finish. Right? These are the tables we have made, and what are the, can you change the, they see the difference, this symbols as we have given, right? Primary key, if you got primary key, you will get the primary key, right? Okay. So this is the ER diagram we got for this particular database, right? So this is how we are going to do that. Now we are going to do few queries to solve the problems. And if you use show tables, these are the tables you will have, right? So these are the tables we have created according to, and based on that, we are going to use, or we are going to solve a database like SQL, assignment is based on this database. Now we are doing the demo for this database, right? So now we are going to talk about how we can use or manipulate or face the data using this HR database, right? So first what we will do, we will first start with use HR. Okay, so as we know, we have already do the show, like as we know already, we have created the table, we have already inserted the data. Now we will see what are the tables we have in our database. So if you can look at here, you can see we have country table, we have department table, we have employee table, job history, jobs, and location, right? So now what we will do, the first, let's have a look at what the first question is gonna say you to do that. They are going to say, write a query to display the names, the first name and the last name using alias name. You need to give an alias for them, that is the first name and the last name. So what you need to write, you will get this information in the employee table. Can you see we have the employee table over here? Now we will say, hey, select first name, that first name as the alias will be first name, then last name as the last name alias will be last name, right? From employees. If we can execute this, can you see we got Elian, Abel, Sundar, and Day, right? The first name and the last name. So let's have a look at, if we don't give the alias, what we will get then. Suppose we are going to write select, then we are going to write first name, comma, last name, from where? From employees. Right? Let me execute this. Yes, can you see we got first name and the last name, only the attribute name we have, it's gonna give you that. But if we add this alias, what we will get? We will get this column name as first name, the alias you gave, and the last name. So already we have talked so many times about this alias, and yes, this is something you need to remind that why do we need alias. Now we are going to see the second part, right? The second question we have. They are going to ask you, write a query to get unique department ID from employee table, right? So you need to get all the department ID that should be in a distinct one, right? All the unique department ID, not the repeated one. So as we know, if we need to use a unique part or unique data from a particular column, that time we need to use a keyword that's known as distinct, right? So now we are going to write select distinct department ID from employees. Right? So first we will do this without distinct, and then I will show you if we put distinct what we will get, right? So if we write this and if we just execute this part, so let's have a look at what we will get. We get 10, 20, 20, 30, 30. Can you see there is a repetition of the department ID over here? Now as the question asks you to give a distinct one, the unique one, for that we are going to put this keyword. Let me execute that. Can you see over here? Now we don't have any repeated value. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 and 110, right? So this is how this distinct keyword works, right? Now what we are going to do, we are going to talk about the third query we have. So here what we are going to do, they are asking you to write a query to get all employee details from employee table order by first name in descending, right? So what you need to do, as we know the concepts of order by, right? So here we are going to use order by concepts in a descending order. So as we know, order by basically used to, like making your data in ascending order, descending order. So we are going to write select star from employees. We are using star to fetch all the data from the table. So select star from employees order by, but you have to put order by with the according to the first name. So you said first name and DESC because of descending order. In default, order by give you a ascending order results, right? Let me just execute this part. Yes, if you can look over here, can you see Winston, William, Vance, Valley, Taylor, Susan is there, and lastly we will have Adam, Alana. So let me just show you, if you don't do DESC, what you will get your result, what it will do, the order by. Can you see in the in default, like the default, what the order by is gonna give you? Adam, Alana, Alberto, Alexander, right? So if you put DESC, it's basically you are saying to your order by clause, hey, I want my I want my data in a descending order, right? Now we are going to talk about the fourth question. They are asking you write a query to get the names, the first name, last name, salary, PF of all the employees, but PF is not there. You have to calculate the PF. So PF is calculated as 15% of salary, right? How to do that? To make a new column, what you need to write select first name, last name, the salary. Now you know, as the salary is of 0.15%, sorry, not 0.15%, the 15%, right? So you need to write 0.15 as you convert it to percentage, right? So 0.15 as PF from employees. So you can do the calculation directly in your query as well. Can you see you got your PF as well? The first name is Steven, last name is King, salary is 24,000, the PF is 3600, right? So this is how your PF will be calculated, the 15% of PF. Now we are going to talk about the write a query to get the employee ID, name, first name, last name, salary in ascending order of salary, right? Let's have a look at how to do that. So as they said, ascending order of salary, what it will give you? It will first give you in ascending order. So you need to use order by. So what they are, otherwise, what are the columns they have asked for? They said employee ID. So you need to write select employee ID, first name, last name, salary from employees, order by what? Order by your salary column, right? So as they have already said, you have to have the result in ascending order. You don't need to write DESC, because you need to have that order, like the salary or your data in ascending order, right? Let me just execute this part. Can you see over here, your salary is in the descending order, first 2100, then 2200, then 2200, 2400, and keep on like this, right? 24,000, 17,000, 14,000, 13,000, 500. So you have said, I want my salary in a ascending order. Now we will jump into the sixth question. What they have asked for? Write a query to get the total salary payable to employees, right? So you will get this to employee table, but they have said total salary. As you want to have the total salary, you need to sum all the salaries. So what you need to write? Select sum of salary as employee. From employee, right? I want to give a alias for that. Total salary maybe, right? Let me just execute this. Okay, you need to write this. Okay, you cannot give two different words as alias. For that, you have to link them with this. Okay, so as I say, total salary, your total salary for the company for all the employees, it's 691400. Right? Yes. Now, if we jump into the seven number question, what they are asking you basically, write a query to get the maximum and minimum salary from employees table. Right? So you have to put the maximum salary and the minimum salary. So getting the maximum and the minimum salary, what do we need to do? We need to use two functions. One is max function, one is min function. As we know, this function are already predefined in SQL. So if we execute that, you will get the max salary, you will get the minimum salary. So if I want to put a life over there, then as max salary, and this will be as mean salary, right? Okay. Now if you execute that, you will get a column name of max salary and minimum salary. So you can see max salary is 24,000, minimum salary is 2,100, right? Now if we jump into the 8th question, that write a query to get the average salary and the number of employees in the employee table, right? So you need to have the average salary and count of total employee, right? So what you need to do, write average, the function, predefined function avg, that is for calculating average, and then you have to put the column name, that is salary. After that you have put down the count star. Why count star? Star will fetch all the data and it will count all the data as well. So average and count star. So average will be your as average salary of all employee, and this will be as count, total count of employee, total count, right? Yeah, now if we can execute this part, can you see we got the average for salary is 6461 and total count is 107. Okay, so this is how our average, mean, max, these functions works. These are the predefined functions as we know, and it actually makes our lives easy to do all this process, right? For count also we have this predefined function. There are lots of predefined function as we discussed earlier. There are lots of predefined functions we do have. And please, we also want to know how you feel about the tutorial. Please do let us know in the comment section. And like Great Learning has come up with the brilliant idea, that is Great Learning Academy. There you will get almost 80 plus free courses, and after complete your course you can claim your certificate as well. So please guys, try to make use of this opportunity as much as you can. Try to skill up yourself and get certified from Great Learning. That is also for free of cost. And yes, please do let us know in the comment section what you feel about this particular tutorial and what else you also want to learn from us, right? So now let's jump into the next query we have. Write a query to get the number of employees working with the company, right? So again, if you want to see how many employees working with the company, you need to just use the count function, as we already did that over here, that is 107. So if we just execute this part, we will get again 107. So total number of employee, right? The number of employee working with the company. So if you want to make this as alias, can you do that? Let me just try to do this. Yes, I think you can. Yes, you got this, that the total number of employee working with the company, right? Now we are going to talk about the 10th query. Write a query to get the number of jobs available in the employee table. Okay, if you want to see how many types of jobs you have, you need to do something. Again, if you need to do that, and again, if you just look at this question quietly, I mean, if you look at the question is in a very close way, can you see they have given you two conditions. To get a number of jobs, right, you need to give the number of jobs is available, and that should be distinct, right? That should be not in a repeated manner. Okay, how to do that? So in order to do that, you need to write select. You have to use two functions. One is count, that will give you the count, and the distinct function is basically for giving you the unique ID, right? Unique job ID. So in that case, I'm from employee table. If we execute that, can you see we have 19. So if we don't use this count, let's have a look at, don't use this distinct, let's have a look at how many total job ID we have. So here I am just removing this distinct part. So you will understand the work of distinct, right? Okay. I got a error because I have, okay. Can you see the total job ID we have, that is 107. That is obvious that we have 107 employees. They will have different job ID and there will be a repetitions. But here I want all the unique type of job ID, and that's why I have used distinct function, right? Okay. Now we will move into the 11th number query. What we have now, we will have a look at that. Now here we are going to look at the 11th query. Write a query, get all first name from employee tables in uppercase. Okay, that's interesting. We need to get all the first name in order to in the uppercase. How to do that? If you need to write select, then we are again going to use a function called upper function that will make your all the first name in uppercase from employees. Right? Let me just execute this. Can you see? You got all the name Alien, Sundar, David, Herman, Shelly, everyone in the uppercase. Now we are going to talk about the 12th one. Write a query to get the first three character of first name from employee table. Okay, so first name, first three character of the first name. So you don't want the all first name for all the employees. You just want three character. As we used before, we are going to use substring function. Here we need to give three parameters for this function. One, from which column you want to use the substring. Second, from which one, like from which index you want to cut down your string, and the ending, like the starting and the ending one. So I want from first to till third one, right? So select substring first name, then 1 from 1 to 3 from employees. If we just execute that, can you see ELL, Sun, Moz, Dav, her, she, we got. If you say I want till 4, so it will give you first four character of the first four character of the first name, right? So Ali, Sand, Devi, Harm, Shell. Can you see? Yes. So this is how it works, right? So if you use substring, be careful what are the letter you want in your data when it's gonna return. Now, if we look at the 13th query, they have asked you to write a query to calculate 171 into 214 plus 625. It's very easy to do that. So if you can do that, select 171 into 214 plus 625 as result. Let me just do that. Can you see 37219? It's there, it's your result. Now we are going to talk about the 14th query. What they have asked you. Write a query to get the names, for example, Ellen, Abel, Sundar, Ande, etc. of all employees from employee table. Okay. So what you have to do, you need to, they give a format that in that format you have to have your data. So in that case, you need to use some functions. What function should we use? We can use concat. How? So this first name and last name both are not two different column, right? So we need to merge them. Not even merging them, we need to format them in a proper format they have given. How to do that? That time we need to use a function called concat function. So here we have written select concat. Under that we have given the column name first name, then as they want a space between them, the space, then the last name. That will be the alias will be employee name from employees. So this is how we use concat function, and this concat function help us to format our text the way we want, right? Can you see Ellen, Abel, Sundar, Ande, Mosey, Atkinson, right? David, Austin. We got this name in a proper format. Now we will talk about the 15th question. What we have? Write a query to get first name from employee table after removing white spaces from both sides. Okay, we need to remove the if we have any white spaces, we need to remove that. So again, we have a function for that. It's always give us using MySQL is so cool, and it's actually reduce your work because we have they have lots of predefined function that will help you to solve your work. Right? So select stream first name from employees. So we are going to use stream function. The stream function helps to cut down all the white spaces. So if we do that, can you see? You get Alien, Sundar, Mosey, David, Herman, Sally. Okay. So I don't think you can see this white spaces we had in our database, but if you have any white space in your database or in your data, in your database, that time it will help you to cut down those white spaces. Now we will jump into the 16th query. Write a query to get the length of the employee names, the first name and the last name from employee table. Okay, it's really a good one. So if you can look at it, how can you do that? So first you need to write select first name, last name, Then we are going to use one function, the function called length function, and we are going to give you the put the column we want to go for. The first name column plus the length of last name, you will get the length of full name. So length of names, as length of names, this will be the alias from employees. If we do that and let me execute this, can you see the first name is Ellen Abel. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you got the length of the name is 9. Then Sundar Ande, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is the length of the name is 10. Yes, this is how this length function works. Now we will jump into the 17th question. Let's have a look at what we have. Write a query to check if the first name fields of the employee table contains number. Okay, so how to check that? So checking that, what we need to do that? We need to write what? They have asked you write a query to check if the first name fields of employee contains number. So containing number, what you need to check, you need to use regex. So regex we have used for checking the numbers if you have or not. So we have written select star from employees, where you are giving a condition where the first name regexp, that will contain from where? From the range you are giving 0 to 9. Okay, so this is where it's gonna check, okay, is there any number is there in your first name or not. If we click, if we just execute this, yes, we don't have any employee name that is, where the first name is basically with the consistency of any regex or any number. Now, if we go further, if we look at the 18th question, then we have write a query to select first 10 records from the table. Okay, now it's really a good one. How to do that? First 10 records, right? That time we are going to use one more keyword, that is limit, right? We are going to use limit. So here we have written select employee ID and the first name from employees as I want this, and the limit 10. When you have written this limit 10, that time your query is understanding, okay, this person wants what? This person wants the select first 10 records from a table, that will be 10, right? So if you look at here, you can see, can you see this? You have Steven, Nina, Lex, Alexander, Bruce, David, right? And you are using limit over here. Okay, so this is why we use limit to give the limit. At what limit you want your data, you just want to fetch the data from where? From the table. Now we are going to jump into the 19th question, as it's a little big question and there is a notice as well there. So they're asking write a query to get monthly salary round 2 decimal places of each and every employee. Okay, right? Assume the salary field provides the annual salary information. Okay, so as we have the salary like column, there you can assume that column is providing you the annual salary. So now you need to break them into the monthly one. How to do that? You need to write select as they want the first name, last name. Then you have to use a round function, because you don't want like after decimal, like getting a number in decimal. After decimal, you want only 2 value will be there, not more than that. That time what you need to do, you need to say salary divided by 12. The second parameter you are providing at what point of the decimal number you want. That after decimal I want 2 numbers. That's why I have written 2 as monthly salary. Okay, from employees. If we execute this one, let's see what we will get. Yes, we get 201416. Can you see the monthly salary? And after decimal, always you get 2 numbers, right? Not more than that. This is why we use round function. Now, if we jump into the one more query, that is write a query to display the name, that is first name and last name and salary for all employees whose salary is not in the range of $10,000, though $15,000, right? So basically what you need to do, as they say this dollar, so in that case, as it's not mentioned it's in INR or in dollar, we can assume this is in dollar. What you need to write, select first name, last name, salary, department ID from employees, where you are giving the condition where salary not between 10,000 and 15,000, right? They have asked you the salary in not between 10,000 to 15,000. Okay, you have to give that. I have given one more condition that's not required as they don't specify that. If we just execute this part, can you see the department ID? This, the salary is 24,000, 17,000, 9,000, right? But not between, okay, they have written 10,000 and 15,000, right? Yes. So it's not between 10,000 and 15,000. It's above that or under that. Okay. So you got 24,000, 17,000, 17,000, right now 1,000, but it's not from 10,000 to 15,000. Okay, now if we jump into the next query, what they have asked you, write a query to display the name, the first name, last name, and the department ID of all employees in a department 30 or 100 in ascending order. Okay, right. So what they have asked you, the department ID will be in the in 30 to 100, and that will be in a order by ascending order. So if you want to add AC, you can. Otherwise, if you can leave it over like this, it will automatically take it as a ascending order. So what your query will be, select first name, last name, department ID from where? From employee table where department ID in, can you see, it's in 30 to 100 as they said. The department ID will be between in 30 and 100. So you have written department ID in 30 and 100, and then order by what? Department ID. So if we execute the whole thing, what we will get? Can you see, we get the department ID 30, 30, 30 and 100, 100, 100, 100. Right? So in 30 and 100, only you have the department ID 30 and 100, and that too will be in ascending order. Right? Can you see 30 first and then 100? Okay. Now if we jump into the third one, then they have asked you write a query to display the name, the first name, last name, and the salary for all employee whose salary is not in range 10,000 and 15,000 are in department 30 and or 100. Okay. So yes, here you will get two query, right? One query, not query, we will get two condition. One condition, salary between 10,000 to 15,000, not between 10,000 and 15,000, and the department ID will be only 30 and 100. So we have written a query called select first name, last name, salary, department ID from employees where salary not between 10,000 and 15,000 and department ID in 13 and 100. We have done this separately. Now we are merging them. To merge them, we are going to use a keyword, that is and. Can you see? They have to have both they have to qualify both the condition you have given, then only you will get the data. This is your condition, the whole condition. Each and every row needs to maintain. Can you see? You got it. The salary is 3100, department ID is 30. And they are not in between 10,000 and 15,000, and the department ID in 30 or 100. Right? Now we will jump into the fourth one. Okay, what they have asked, write a query to display the name, first name, last name, and hire date for all employees who were hired in 1987. Okay, so in this case, I did not write the code. Okay, so in that case, if I want to see, select star from employees. The hiring date will be there. Okay, so what we have job ID, salary, a commission, PCT, department ID, and a hire date, right? So you need to get this, 1987. Can you see? The hired who were hired in 1987. So first, let me just try to do that. Select star from employees where hire date is equals to you need to do what? Year of hire date. If we use the function called year of hire date is equals to 1987. Let's see what we will get. Can you see? The year we got for 1987 only. Yes. So if you want to get only the year, right? How to do that? Okay. So basically it's under comment. Okay. It cannot be executed. So if we execute this part, right? Can you see? You got it, the hiring date. Okay, so yes. So if you give that the year of hire date equals to 1987, you get all the hire date, that is 1987. So what it will do, it will only extract the year from hire date and it will match. Okay, is the hire date equals to 1987? If it's there, then it will fetch that, right? Now let me put this again in comment. So if you need to do comment, you can see this is how you need to use the comment one, right? So the fifth question is asking about write a query to display the first name of all employees who have both B and C in their first name. Okay, now I need to check who have B and C in their first name. How to do that? Select first name from employee, where first name like we use the pattern matching. So what you need to have, you need to check is B there in their name. So in that case, percentage, anything can be before B, and after percentage anything can be after B, and one more later, that is and first name again like before percentage C, like the percentage before C, it's basically any word or any character can be there before C, and after C also there will be, after C also there will be lots of or any alphabets will be there, right? So if the B and C is there in the first name, then only it will return all the record. So only Bruce, can you see? Only Bruce has B and C. So this is how this like or pattern matching works. So like is basically used for pattern matching. If you try to find it out one particular letter is there or not. If it's there, then you can use like function. As we talked about the like function, now we will have a look at the sixth question we have. Most probably this, okay, right. We almost came to the last part of this query solving part, right? And please do let me know and do let us know basically in the comment, do you like this project or not? Because we are trying to give you a proper intuitive idea that how this SQL works, how you can to solve the query, and yeah, how can you start your career in SQL as well, right? So now we will look at the sixth query, that write a query to display the last name, job and salary for all employees whose job is that of a programmer or a shipping clerk and whose salary is not equals to, okay, $4500 or 10,000 or 15,000. Okay, there are lots of conditions we have, but okay, we know how to deal with this, right? So break it first. First, write select last name, job ID and salary. These three fields you need. Then from where? From the table employee. Then you need to write job ID. They have said job ID can be IT programmer or SH clerk, right? You have written that. Now the salary not in. You don't want the salary will be in this. So salary not in 4500 or 10,000 or 15,000, right? If you execute that, let's have a look at the the results we have. That Hanold IT programmer salary 9,000, Austin IT programmer salary 4800, then Bull SH Clark 4100, then Carbios SH Clark 3,000. Right? Yes, your conditions are working. And whenever you put and, don't forget this and is basically you have to, the query have to or the data have to maintain both the conditions. Right? Now, if we look at the seventh query, what we have? Write a query to display the last name of employees whose name have exactly 6 characters. Right? Okay. So now we need to check if the name has exactly 6 characters or not. Okay. How to do that? Okay, let's have a look at how we are going to do this. Okay, so select class name from employees. We have written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can you look at this? Okay, so I will show you how we are going to do that. We have written select last name. I am just removing this. Why? Select last name from employees, where last name like, again we are using like for the pattern matching. Then they have said exactly 6 character. You have to use this for exactly for 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can you see? I have printed this a particular sign for 6 times, right? Yes, this is how we are going to use, right? Now, if we execute that, the same result we will get. Can you see? Austin, this Bisot, Carbio. Maybe if I can put one more. Okay, so in that, let's see what we will get. Can you see this D, Han, then Higgins, then Kocher, we have this parts, right? So exactly if you want 6-1, you have to use this particular sign for 6 times. This is how this like or pattern matching works. Now we will talk about write a query to display the last name of employees having E as the third character, right? So if you want to get this at the third character, can you see? I will put this underscore for 2 times, or if you say exactly as the third character, right? So 2 and then E will be third character. After that, anything can be there. Okay, so if you want to say I want this particularly at this particular point, that time you have to use this particular sign. Okay, so we have written select last name from employee, where last name like the underscore E percentage, 2 underscore and then E percentage. Can you see Abel, Bayer, Chain, Everett, Finney, Fleor, right? They have the exactly E in the third position in their name, in their last name basically, right? Now we will talk about the ninth one. Okay, we have 5 to 6 query left. Let's do it as like quickly and just complete this project, right? So they have asked you write a query to display job or designation available in the employee table. Again, we have done this. So distinct job ID from employees, right? Now we have one more query. This is done. We have done this PF calculation before as well. Now we have a new one. Write a query to select all records from employees where last name in Blake, Scott, King, Fraud, right? And how can you do that? You need to use in basically. Select star all the data from employees where last name in Jones, Blake, Scott, Keen, or Ford, right? So you want all the last name should be in between this. Otherwise, no, you don't want the data. Can you see Jones, King, you don't have Scott or Fraud, right? Okay, this is how this works. Now if you want to use an aggregate function and a group by, how to do that? Write a query to list the number of jobs available in the employee table. So yes, we have done this count and distance again. If we look at this, already we have done this total salary payable for the employees. And the last one, we have the minimum salary. Obviously, we have done this select mean salary from employees. It will give you the minimum salary from your employee table, right? 2100. In this video, we have looked about how can you start with the HR database management system and how can you create your table, how can you do the data manipulation, how can you fetch your data, and also how can you insert your data. And lot more we have learned in this tutorial. Please do let us know what you feel about this project we have done in SQL. And also if you want to learn more about this concept, then please go to Great Learning Academy, where you will get almost 80 plus free courses. And after complete your course, you can claim your certificate as well. And if you want to do this course in your mobile application, that is also possible using Great Learning app. Thank you so much.